Hello to everyone, this is Vishal, and again we are on new session of the day. As last time we have worked with the simple elements and we have created a login form. So here today we have to learn that how we can use the list, how we can create the models, what's the difference between the state and bindings. So a lot of things be there. We'll see one by one. So let's start it. So if you're talking about the list, it means we can say it a simple container in which we have to put some data and that arrange like a single column. So you can do it with a vstack also, but if you say that we have a multiple taxes and you want to present it, so better we can make a group and put it in the container. So because of lot of benefits, if we go with any any language, and this definition should be same for a list, that means it is a container display collections of our data, and we can use it as a menu setting screens, displaying dynamic contents like an arrays on object. So lot of things be there, so we can use the list there. And here we have a benefits for that, means a vertical scrollings, we have a dynamic contents, we have a data source flexibility, so a lot of things be there. And also we have a customizations, so we can do it the different kind of customization with the list styles. We can do the sections, headers, footers, create and swipe, refreshability, lot of things be there. So we'll do it, we'll see, we'll learn practically. And also we have a unique id, so we can do the item identifications also. And so let's see, we'll start practical one by one. We'll learn that how we can implement it. Okay, so let's start with the list example here. So first we have to create a view here, and I'm creating a new file that's called list UI view. Okay, so once it created, let's see. Okay, so for that, if we have a vstack, and as we have learned before the use of vstacks, so we can use the vertical elements here. So once I want to make these text be like this, hello, okay, so this is a very simple way that we are static listing the values, but this is not the right way, that means it is ungrouped. So for that, what we needed, instead of vstack, we are using the list. So see the difference. Okay, so this become a vertical list for these elements. So I'm just changing the names for that. This is your first, this is your second, this is your third, this is your fourth. Okay, so these very simple list for the static values. Okay, but if you want to make it a dynamic names using the state, so what to do, you just go for that simple, as we have uh, already discussed, that if you're using any the local variable storage for that value and you want to uh, show it, so you can pass it as in the state form. So today we'll discuss more about the state and bindings, and also the navigations. Okay, so this is the state, and what we needed, we need a where names. I'm want, and this is a kind of string. Okay, and I'm just making the names of this the same. This is your first, this is your second, this is your third, this is your fourth. Okay, so these all values be here. And how we can call it? That means you call by the names, that means these names we passed under that list. Okay, so for that I just comment this part, and we'll create a one more list, and here I'm passing the names. Okay, and id as in the self one. So if you're not aware about it, this I will explain you, but here just use that this id and the names for. Okay, and you can say that item in text, this is your item, or names under that we have a names like this. Okay, so that's the way you can represent it. And if you want to make it more names like fifth, sixth, so it will add accordingly. Okay, so that means if you go with the multiple list which is not covered it here, so it auto scroll it. So this is the way you can make it a simple static and as well as a dynamic content list with the state. Now we go for the next step, how to give the more complexity using this, and how we can use the loops or likewise. So that's a lot of way we can interact with, and also we can use the model inside it. Let's see. Okay, so let's create a model, and at this time I'm using the model here on the same file, but when we will create MVVN approaches, so on that time we will create a separate model groups on that. Okay, so here I'm just using a simple struct, and then I'm giving that model name. So here this is the user I'm choosing, and here I'm making the ID with unique ID, means we have to pass it inside, and this is a integer kind, and one more thing, that is username I'm choosing, so that is called a string. That's simple. Okay, so that's the way we will create a simple structure for a model. So that the user model, and now for the user model what we need it, I'm just making a users, and that users I'm choosing with user model, and inside that model what we are passing, that is the unique ID. Okay, and that unique ID should be, I'm giving the one, and the name be Ajay, and the same I'm making a copy of the name, that's a copy of this model, and give the unique ID 2, and here I'm just using the John, and likewise that we will create a user models for many others. Okay, for a here just copy it and comment it, and for here I'm choosing the for the list I'm passing the users because of the parameters we are passing. If you using not identifiable, means if you are not any identifiable with the structure, I will describe you what is that. And here as like a unique ID I am passing, so we have to pass a unique ID inside it. Okay, so this is called here unique where it hangs. Yeah, this is the unique ID. Okay, and here I'm choosing a users, and then users, or you can say that simple user also. So according to that, you will pass these values. Okay, and users, I'm choosing the username, because of we are passing the name here. Okay, here you can pass any values, not an issue. So that's the way you can work with this. So you can see that as a enjoy, this is your list. So that's the way you can use it. But now, as we are passing every time the values with the unique IDs, means sometimes we don't have the auto numbers or likewise that. So for that, whatever you are passing, that's good, you make it identifiable, that your structure for the model. So let's see how we can implement it. Okay, now we learn the model with the list. So for that, what we have to do, you just create a struct animals. We have to define the unique ID and with the name. If you want to go with means any structure, means for a fruits, for animals, for anything you can create it, and like that you have to pass the values and then call it like this. So this is the way you can use it. But if you want to make a identifiable, so that's very important part, because of it automatically create your identifications, that means your UUID. So that means it generate number that is the unique, so we can access the names easily, or we can search it. So that means we just, so that each element in a data source list must be the uniquely identifiable, means here you have not pass it from your manually, you can make it like this. So it auto generated and then you can call the same. Okay, so if you go for the in a more detail, so there are a lot of things be there. So there, like we have a multiple selections also, we'll discuss it. That means how we can make a groups also in customizations. So let's see. First we will create this list without identifiable and with identifiable both, then we learn more about the identifiable little bit. Okay, so if we go with a more detail about this identifiable, that means we have protocols. That means we have to follow this protocol with the associated type. So that means use this identifiable protocol to provide a stable notions of the identity to use class or a value. So that means if you want to make something unique and which is auto generated, so that you can use it. That means the scope of identity, unspecified identity, can have any of the following characteristics. That means it is guaranteed always with a unique, persistently unique per environment, unique for the lifetime process. So that's the way it auto generated. And in Swift UI, identifiable is a crucial product protocol that provides a way to uniquely identity individual instances. Okay, so that means it is used there. So that means we can easily identify that particular. So will means if we create models with the identifiable, I will describe you. That means more about the models and that. So it was for whatever we have done with the list for the identifiable, that's fine. For this you can just create this kind of list with identifiable and without identifiable, whatever we discuss. So the basic things. Okay, so we'll see some customizations on the list. Let's discuss about identifiable. So as we already done with the theory, but for the practical, what to do, uh, for this we have to create one more struct, and that is animal, or any one you can create for this. Okay, and for identifiable, what to do, you just make it identifiable. Okay, yes, and assign your ID as, means it is equivalent, means you assign it UUID class. Okay, and where here I'm using name string. So that means in this case we have to pass only the name, because of already ID we have already. And when we call the list, it means we have to call only the whatever be our array, not that particular id, because of if we are using the unique id as per the manually, so you have to use this as a id. But if you are use identifiable, so don't use it. So better we can just call it list with the array. So if you have a array like animals, and I'm making it animal, so here I have to pass only the name, means instead of id everything we have to use, means whatever you have assigned as an UUID. Okay, so here I'm using elephant and comma, make it more like copy it. Okay, so here I'm using dog, cat, rat. So likewise this. So once this done, this animals be done, so we have to pass uh, this list be here. I just comment it and copy this. Inside I am passing only animals. Okay, and say animal as animal dot name. Okay, so that means you can see that here the name comes. So that's the way we can use identifiables. And as we discussed already in the theory part, that what are the uses of this. So better whenever you create your model and then call it as an array, or I will describe you how you can call it a dynamic, means from the APIs also. So that's the way you can use it as a very easy. So you can just pass that animal. So whenever we do with the list we have a two kind of parameters, means first is if you are using any this kind of structure with any manual IDs, so you can pass the ID with that unique IDs whatever you define. And if you're using identifiable, it's automatically use this. Okay, we have to pass only name, because of it create every time a unique ID for this animal name, means for elephant, dog, cat, rat, we have a unique IDs we have every time when the list is generated. So this is a very easy approach. So let's see more about the list. Okay, so let us start with the list sections. So here we can say that if you want to be like a categorized list, means if you have a multiple groups of the list, or you want to show some items in a one group with a header or without header, whatever be, so you can separate out with the list sections. So here we have a very good examples for the list sections, means you can use a multiple sections. Inside that we have a header, and then you want something with the list, you can pass it. So that's the way you can work. So that is we'll see that, and there are a lot of styles we can use it, that I will also explain this. But here now we'll see the practically how we can use the static section headers, and how we can use the dynamic ones. Okay, so let's see the examples for that. Okay, so let's see how we can make a groups in the list. So it's a very simple structure. First you have to create a list, and then under that you have to create a sections. Okay, so this is your section, and then make it the first section, and then make it the second section, and likewise that you can create a multiple sections. That is a basic funda behind that. Okay, and now for I just comment it out for this. Okay, so first section, that means if you want to show some header, so what to do, you just pass that header. Means sometimes we need headings on that, so for a header you can say that this is the text and you can apply this is our group 1. Okay, and likewise that you just make it the second header and this is the text and make it as a group 2. Okay, so that's the way you can create a two groups or multiple groups, whatever you want it, and inside that you just put it your values be like this. So I will describe you how make it a dynamic, but at this time just show to you that how we can create a simple one. So this is your item 1, item 2, likewise item 3, 4, okay, and on the second section I want to make it the items like item A, item B. So likewise you can create a multiple sections inside that list. So that's the way you can work in it, and you can create a multiple sections inside your list. And now if you have a multiple items like means as in your dynamic values as an array, so how we can use them, so we'll see it, but this is the simple structure whatever I have created for this. Okay, so let's see for other example dynamic values. How we can make it dynamic, we'll see this whatever be structure we created. So for this, as already we have an animal, and now what we have to do, we just make a one more struct that is called animal group, or you will make any group, user group or whatever be. I'm just showing that how you can achieve this. So this is identifiable and very simple. So the same we have make a ID for this group, that is the unique ID for the group ID, and inside whatever we are choosing, that's also. And here I'm making a group name that is string, and the third one is here I'm making a animal that is belong to our array. Simple. So three things I need it. According to that structure we have to work. Okay, so for this structure first we make an array like animals. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so as we created this structure, that means model structure, so first we have to create the array for this. So I'm just making the animals group, and that animals group I'm just making the animal, I call that animal group. Okay, this one. So here in this we have a group name, and inside the group name what I am passing, I am passing the name of that group and say pets. Okay, and here for the animal I am making that animal, and here on this animal we have a ID that is auto and the name. Okay, so I'm just passing the name here, and that name is the same, cat or dog, whatever you want it. Just copy it, and then this is your animal. So these all under the categories of the pets, that's we have done. So this is the first animal group we have created, and now we make it comma and make a second animal group. So you do one thing, you just copy paste that part, and inside that I'm just making a second group name is form. So for that forms, I'm just making the group as in a cow and got. Okay. Oh, where it is stuck. Okay. So this one is cow and this one is got. So that's done. This is the we have created the animals group. Now how we call it in the list, let's see. So first we comment this and then make a list for that. Okay, now we have to call this list here. So first I'm command this, and this is our list, new list, and for this list I'm just making for each. So here it's already showing that is the animals, but we are not calling the animals, we are calling the animals group. Okay, and I'm making it animal group just for identification, and here I'm just making a, this is not a text exactly, this is our section. Okay, so that is animal group in section, and under that section you have to pass the header, and I'm making the header text, that is the animal group, sorry, this is animal group dot group name. Okay, so this is the first, you have said this is pets and the forms. We have a two kind of groups we created, and now if we go inside it and I want to explore each group, so you can see that particular group we have how many animals, and on the other that means how much be there. So here it is, because of it is not animals related, we are using the groups for that. Okay, so here I am making animals group dot animals. Okay, so that means we are calling the animals group. Wait, this is the animals group, and this one is animals or animal, what is that? Animals group animal. Okay, so here it's not showing me like animal. Okay, because of we are calling the main group as an animals, then we are calling the inside group as an animal group, and that the same group we have to call for each and then for animals. Okay, so this is the way you can make your animals. So this is the pets. Wait, I'm making the pet name different. Here I'm making the dog. Okay, so now it become a very simple structure for the dynamic contents. So you can see here, this is our pets, this is our forms. So you can create more and more elements according to that. So that's the way you will create your dynamic groups in the list. We'll see more ways to do the list in Swift UI. Yeah, sometimes we need few styles on list. So if you use without group, so it means give you the default style. If you're making a group, you give the group styles. So beside that we have few styles like What to do for that? Once where we have closing this list, at that moment we are using dot list style. Okay, so this is our list style, and say dot sidebar. So first we have a sidebar style. So you can see that these to be drop downs, it's showing you that the sidebar be there. So it depends on you what you want. Then we have a plain style. So for the plain, it's showing very simple list. And if you want to go for the group, dot group, so it's default, it's group forms. Okay, so likewise that you can create a multiple, depends on what you want exactly. And one more kind of list means if you want to disclose list, that means if you want to disclose styles on that, so how we can use it, that is also be important. And um, we can use the list like inside your where you want to go for the next navigations means likewise if you have a cards, multiple cards, you can see the examples on that, and you can want to show the details of that card, so we can navigate to that particular. So that I will describe you. And also list sections, we use it for the toggles, text fields. You can apply your these kind of elements also inside that list. So we'll see, first we'll check that how we can make a disclosure group first, and then we'll see the other example of the list. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so let me describe you the disclosure group. For that I need to create a list, and that list we with the disclosure group. Okay, so first we hide this previous one, whatever we have done. Now we have a new list, and in this list what we needed, we just go for the disclosure. Okay, so first we need to check the disclosure group, and here I want to make the label. Okay, so the label only we need it, or you can pass it like simple string. So you can say that settings. So sometimes we need that, we need to explain the settings and whatever be the elements inside that, so we can work on it. Okay, so this is our disclosure group. So I want to make one more disclosure group, likewise whatever you want you can show it. So here I want to make it the more information. Okay, so these two disclosure group I have created here. So by that we can check the multiple values inside that. So you can see that settings and disclosure, more information, disclosure group here. So once you created the disclosure group here, we need few elements like okay, let me show you the toggle. So I will explain you this toggle some other day, because of it's very important whenever we doing these settings or any other information if we need it. So here I'm saying that this is the options, and under that I'm just making it is on. Yes, and that is on is binding bool. So here the important term is binding. So I will explain you after this what is the difference between the status and binding in this lecture also. So first we have to do the binding, and for the binding I'm just making a constant value. I pass the constant value true. Okay, so this is our toggle, and slider also with the important in few cases of settings. Okay, so I'm just making it the value, and that value is dot constant, and I'm making a 0.5. Okay, so these two I have created, and here I'm just passing a simple text. This is the first information. Whatever you want to describe here you can give it, or any other element if you want to explore you can do it. And this is your second info. So likewise that you have created this kind of disclosure group here. So if you see that, you can see that this is our disclosure group toggle and slider. Okay, and if you go with that, this is the first info, second info, so that it can expand it. So we can say that expanded kind of list we have, okay, in the form of groups. So you can use any elements inside it, and in a small screen you can make a multiple things there. So this is the way we can make a list disclosure group. So many things we have learned in the list. um, let's see uh, what is the next topic we will pick up.